Hey there everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is that time. The very first episode in a series that I have created on a monthly basis called Promote My 4-Star. And if you don't know what that is, you're new or you've been living under a rock, in which case, hello and welcome either way. Promote My 4-Star is basically my attempt to increase my barracks to have a more diversified title pool, as it were, because you see, limited hero battles and things like that, they're a pain. Alright? They're not fun. I don't enjoy them, especially when it comes to things like Sacred Stones, which, lo and behold, you all chose as the first ever one to do. And as you can see, we have some La Rochelle examples here. But if you're interested in the next one, I have cut off the poll as of recording today, so it looks like we're going to be going with Fates. Fates is the next title, so if you want to take a stab at who I should promote, you can take the unit poll via the Google Docs form link that'll be in the description. Check that out later, of course, not right now, but do that at some point. And the winner, I will do another video like this where I go through builds that you all send me, and then additionally show you what I ended up building based on what I had in barracks and things like that. So, let's take a look. La Rochelle. I'm going to start off by saying I'm not a huge fan of the units available in Sacred Stones outside of things like Tethys and Duo Ephraim, Winter Erica. Like, all of those units are very solid in my opinion. I have not given any of them elsewise the time of day, and that maybe that's my fault. It probably is, but this is it. So La Rochelle was a big pick. In fact, there's a very close pool between Tethys, La Rochelle, and base Erica, or I guess Resplendent Erica technically. And La Rochelle won. Like, she came in and clutched it out, man. It was downright impressive. Erica was in the running for the longest, and then Tethys was, but La Rochelle had always been in third until the very end. Which was like the last 2 days we had voting, but she just swept it. So there you go. That is La Rochelle. We have a couple of build submissions. I think we've got like 13 this time around. I may have to cap them eventually in future videos, but I want to keep it to like a minimum 15 or maximum 15. Maximum 15. That better explains it. And for the record, when you submit a build for me to look at, it doesn't have to be your build. We have a mixture here of stuff that was either built on like Fey Builder or units that people actually did in fact send me, so it's up to you. But we have a lot of heavy investment in this first one from Mick237, and it's a +10. We got Dragon Flowers on this thing. We got the Fox Tome. I don't know how I feel about that given who that comes from. She has plus speed. You can see it +10 plus speed. She hits 42, which is pretty reasonable, I think. We've got Glimmer on the special. Repo. Excellent for a cav. In fact, I feel like most of these builds had either reposition or like drawback, I want to say. The cav assist skills for the most part. Swift Sparrow 3, so, you know, we get the big bump with attack and speed. We got the lull speed res. Yikers. Res Smoke 3. I don't want to think about who that came from. And then Swiss Sparrow on the seal, which is all very exciting. That's a very good unit. And at +10, at Dragon Flowers, with all the speed, skill investment, like, that is not bad. You can see her res is topping out at 37 there. Defense is, like, there's no reason you would put, like, Close Foil or something like that on well, maybe Close Foil. Close counter, probably don't want to worry about close counter. That would probably be bad. But this is a good build, and if I were going +10, I would probably build something similar to that. Cap and Ink over here with what I assume to be their build, and maybe not a fib. Maybe Mick also. Maybe this is their build as well. If that is the case, let me know. But this is just a single La Rochelle plus attack minus defense. Probably the best IV spread you can get on her for the most part. Fox Tome, again, with the speed bump. We got Moonbow, we got Drawback, classic. Fury 3, Desperation 3, and Drive Attack 2. So this is more of what I would consider maybe to be a budget build. And in fact, there were a lot of Fury builds that I saw, both from you guys and from just doing some online research. And I was like, man, like everybody wants to give La Rochelle Fury. I don't know if it's just because she needs like the extra stats or what is going on, but she's really got it. It's a thing. It must be a thing. Darting Blow is the seal to help with speed. So this is kind of like a more accessible version of what Mick sent in. It focuses around attack and speed, but we have the Fury to give the bump to the stats instead of going for like the +10 and all the flowers and things like that. So this is something that I thought would probably be like more accessible for myself. Prepariday. I don't know how to say your name, but Perp. I'm going to call you Perp, because that I don't think I messed up. Flora Guide. Funny story about Flora Guide. I was so convinced, so convinced that Summer Loot was coming back on this double special banner that I was like, hey, I'm going to do that build. Because, you know, she's a 4-star. We should be able to get her pretty easily, and like few orbs. We had tickets and all that stuff. Which would have come in handy if she actually would have been on the banner. She was not. So, my plan was foiled, basically, and I got a little upset. But we made do, I guess, and that's fine. Whatever. I'm not happy about it, but it's fine. So, Flora Guide, definitely something that I was exploring. Not something I actually could explore, unfortunately. Again, we've got Reposition Moonbow, nothing too surprising there. Fury 4, Desperation 3, which kind of helps parry with the Fury 4. Pulse Smoke 3, woo, big investment there. And then that Brazen Attack Speed for obviously when Fury wears you down a little bit, you get that nice little Brazen bump as well. Thief of RPG, we have them coming in with another big build, big build. Tannenbit, Yikes, Harsh Command Plus, Blue Flame, Mirror Stance 3, Lull Speed Res 3, Joint Drive Attack. That is insane. That's some heavy stuff, dude. That's a big build right there. Again, nothing that I probably would have embraced, because this was definitely going to be like a more of a budget build for me. We'll see if I end up going crazy on the Fates Call or not, depending on who gets chosen. But this is big builds, man. This is like pretty much on par with the investment coming from Mick that we looked at first. Blake submitted another Fox tome. You guys are breaking my heart over here. This La Rochelle is actually plus speed this time. We have been looking at stuff that was either neutral or more attack based, but this one is plus speed like our first submission. And Swift Sparrow 2 in the seal, Joint Drive Speed in the C slot, Desperation, and Fury 4. So another Fury build. Not too surprised to see that. It's not the last one that we'll see, as you can see now. Let's see, Alexander, which I don't know why Alexander's submission was so much bigger. It might have been like on an iPad or something, or a tablet, I don't know. But it's bigger, and so I had to... We made adjustments somehow. So Flora Guide, again, wish I would have had it. Reposition, Glimmer. We got that attack speed for push. That's a big daddy investment. Mystic Boost 3 to help ease the pain of the push. And then we have Panic Smoke. Panic Smoke is definitely something I was looking at too, but I just didn't have it to give at the time. And then Swift Sparrow 2 as well. So lots of good stuff here. Again, this is more of a speed build. That's the one thing I've kind of noticed with the submissions that we got. They've all been either like attack and speed build or nothing. So here's another one we have from Josh UK 89. We got Spooky Sensor, which is this. I think this is the only one that we've had that was like that. So that's kind of exciting. Iceberg to get that res bump. As you can see, 44 res is absolutely bonkers on here. And that's a plus speed Spooky Sensor, by the way. That's not res. That's 44 res. just at the investment here. So Fury 4, big skill bumps there. Lull speed res 3, joint drive speed, and then Swift Sparrow. So kind of similar to the first one that we saw, but this one obviously has the Fury rather than the Swift Sparrow 3. Let's see. Fiffers, 74. Coming in with another big one. So Juicy Wave. Juicy Wave's another one that I kind of thought about. But again, I didn't have the fodder for it. So that didn't really help us all that much. Fury 4, we have Chill Speed 3. We got Joint Home Speed. Swift Sparrow in the seal. So you can see all the builds kind of have this main theme, right? I think Swift Sparrow seal was like the most common seal that we saw just overall. So that didn't really surprise me too much. The reposition, the Moonbow. The Iceberg is interesting, but I guess with 44 res, that's pretty, yeah, why wouldn't you run Iceberg on that, right? So Little Giant Panda came in with a Blade Tome build, which is, I think, the first one that we've seen so far. With a Rally Attack Res Plus, Iceberg, there's another Iceberg. Attack Speed Push 4, we got Lull Speed Res 3, Honed Cavalry. So this one's obviously meant to be more along the lines of a Cav team buffer for that C slot rather than just a general like we've seen with the joint drives and whatnot. And then we have Brazen Attack Speed 3, so again, kind of playing off of the damage that you take from the push, like we've seen with the Fury builds before. Amazes came in, submitted this gem. Remember how I was like, I don't know if I would ever run close counter on La Rochelle. Well, there you go, he did it. The mad lad did it. So this is another pretty big La Rochelle. Only 5 Dragonflowers, though, not the max 10, as we can see. Actually, is it 10 or is it 15? I don't know what the max is. Yeah, I haven't looked. I don't have any more Cav Dragonflowers, to be honest. So, Juicy Wave Plus, which is nice. Reposition Glimmer, close counter. Questions? I have them. Chill Res 3 and Fortify Cav. So this is another kind of Cav-based member that we have here. And then our last 3, El Pudding, brought us a La Rochelle that is plus speed minus defense. Again, nice. Very nice. This one has Evaldi, which I can appreciate that Evaldi is a thing. That's what I actually put on mine. Spoilers, no spoiling. Reposition Iceberg, again, 36, not bad for little Iceberg damage. Then we got Fury 3, Renew 3, and Goad Cavalry. And then Speed Res 2 on the seal, which is, again, kind of unique. This is probably more of a budget unique build that I got submitted, which I can appreciate because I was definitely trying to go for more of a budget type build. Oh, Vessel of Cheer from Erica, the Erica. If anyone knows La Rochelle, I assume that it would be the Erica, and we got one. So this La Rochelle, I don't know if the supports mean anything. I don't know if they're summoner supports or not. I assume they are hero supports, but either way, I don't care. You submitted them and I like them. So this is an attack build. 57 attack, good God. So Vessel of Cheer we got on the speed, so that bumps us up to 42. Fury 4 also helps with all of our stats. Yikes. Desperation 3, Odd Attack Wave 3, which is another skill that I thought about running. I wasn't really sure what to put in my C skill, because honestly, like Panic Smoke or Pulse Smoke is pretty much what I wanted to do. But again, I didn't really have it to. I didn't feel like burning it on this build would have satisfied my soul, so I didn't. But Odd Attack Wave, wave skills in general, or smoke skills in general, I think were probably my only options. So there we have a nice build from Erica, and then Louise sent us in another Juicy Wave La Rochelle. So that 42 speed, which if you look at La Rochelle's base stats, right, you don't think, oh well, it's middling, she's not really going to get anywhere that it's going to be beneficial, right? Not so much the case. Like, as we saw with all of these submissions, like La Rochelle's speed has been pretty darn good. And even at like a minor investment with like a Fury 3 or something, like she can get up to almost 40, depending on the right builds, which is I think pretty decent for a relatively older unit. But we got that attack speed push 4, we got that lull attack speed 3, joint drive speed, so this one's definitely pumping up speed here, and then Swift Sparrow 2, which is really solid. And then we've got the speed, boon. We've got the speed refined in the weapon. Like, I don't think you're hurting for speed. You know what I mean? I don't know what this Erica hits, but it's got to be like over 50 by the time she's actually attacking, and all of the lulls and pushes and sparrows are engaged, as well as the joint drives. So there's a lot happening there. There's a lot happening there. Clearly, the one thing that I got from you guys is attack and speed. And I was like, hey, I can do one of those things. So that's exactly what I kind of did. And so this is what I ended up going with. Are you ready? This is it. This is the thing that I built. We kept Ivaldi because maybe she'll get a refine this next month. I don't know. It could happen, you know? Anything is possible. It's possible. But I decided, hey, maybe it's best to get that attack bump. I don't really know what defense is helping here. Like, we're at 20. That's not going to benefit us. I should also comment, she is +1. I had a plus defense La Rochelle as a 5-star. And then I had a plus attack as a 4-star. And I was like, why don't I just promote my 4-star? And then we can just go in and take a look from there. Because plus defense La Rochelle obviously doesn't really do us any good. But she's +1 now, which is kind of nice. We got rid of whatever the Bane was. I think it might have been. I think this was like a plus attack minus res La Rochelle. So, you know, not ideal. Obviously, minus defense would have been better. But we got reposition, as is one of the 2 best options, as I saw, either reposition or drawback. Growing Light. I decided to keep that because we were going for a big attack build anyway, and that it was native to her. It's a vanilla skill. We have that attack minus foe's defense, and I mean she can do damage control, right? That was kind of her point. She puts a bunch of damage on the field. She debuffs with attack smoke, which is kind of nice. Quick Repose 3. So I know that a lot of the builds I was getting were focusing on making her lose HP to make her other stats better. And then kind of playing off of that. And I was like, well, what if I just tried to keep her at full HP all of the time and put Quick Repose on her to make sure that she, could do 2 attacks per turn? So that's what I did. We're throwing Quick Repose on her. I don't know if this is actually anything that anyone has ever done. In all of the research that I have looked at and all of the submissions that you all have sent to me, I never saw a single Quick Repose build, which is bizarre. But I mean, look, I get Vantage, I get Desperation, I get all of those things. I get the lulls. Lulls is obviously the best option. I think you could go with a La Rochelle. But then I had a Death Blow 4, and I was like, We're initiating combat. We're getting the +8. All right, so that'll bring us up to like 59. That's pretty reasonable. If Quick Repose is active, that means we get 2. I think we can probably 2-shot most of the things that La Rochelle would likely be worried about, and I think that's fine. So this is ultimately kind of like, I want to say it's budget heavy. Like, it's still a budget skill, but obviously a tier 4 investment doesn't really make it budget as much. Death Blow 4 is still kind of accessible for the most part. I had 2 extra Brave Silicas that I wasn't using, and they were just manuals, so I was like, why don't we just use that? Let's go with that. I'm sure that Silica would be fine sacrificing a Death Blow 4 to a La Rochelle. Let's do that. So there you go. So Attack Smoke and Growing Light, they kind of pair well together in terms of dealing extra damage and then lowering attack. Not that La Rochelle is going to live a whole lot with 20 defense. And, Quick Repose 3 helps us get multiple Death Blow 4s in, which is also kind of nice. So that's ultimately what I ended up building. I think it has tested pretty well. She mostly ran through Tempest Trials on the Ninja event for me. For the most part, which is how we maxed out that SP the way that we did. So yeah, I think it went pretty darn well. And you can see I actually used her a bit too, because we've got that HM up. I think she was at like 63 when I started all of this. So I don't have a seal on her. If I were to put the seal on her, probably Swift Sparrow 2, just to help with the speed a little bit. Maybe Death Blow. I don't know. Like, we could also swap out, if I were to put a lull on her, we could put Quick Repose in the seal. There's a lot of options, which is kind of nice. So, there you go. I'm hoping that when La Rochelle eventually gets a refine, it will be beneficial to whatever build this is. And if it's not, then I will readjust. But this is what I'm going with so far. Let me know in the comments if you saw any builds that you liked, and give them a shout out in the comments, I guess. And remember, if you want to help me pick the next unit that I am going to promote as my next 4-star to a 5-star, because that's the point, typically, you can vote in the poll in the comments and help us get there. Should be Fates. I think that's what's winning right now, so I think I'm probably just going to go with that. But it will ultimately tell you in the forum, so check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe, come on back for more, and until then, I will catch you next time.